District.
I see everyone. Mallory, good to have you. How are you going? How are you going to present an award from there? Are you going to reach? Are you going to reach? Are you going to reach through the screen?
Yeah.
That'll be good. No, I just thought they ain't gonna need you to get out in this weather. That way you can join us this way.
I appreciate the thought.
You're welcome. I told the board members they had to be here. Everybody but Miss Sheila. I let Miss Sheila stay home. Are you doing okay, Sheila?
I'm okay.
Good deal.
All
Trying to stay
right.
warm.
Yes.
we've had the craziest stuff on all this calendar stuff. People ask us about, now, I don't know why we're doing NGI days. Kids should just be able to enjoy the snow. And I'm thinking, well, if they enjoy the snow now, guess what they don't get to enjoy in the spring? All the summer. That's just, but there's people that actually believe that we get a these days. I mean, it's like, where is it? That's it. I'll tell you what I'll do.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome everyone to our regular called board meeting on January 20th at 6 o'clock. And we are in person, social distancing at the boardroom at Central Office. We'd like to welcome everyone, and I'd like to call this meeting to order. We'd like to start by saying our pledge. Is that it? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for that. I'd like to remind everyone that there's a sign-in sheet that Mr. Willis has just outside the door. Mr. Saylor, do we have any revisions to our agenda?
No, we do not.
No, we do not.
And just a reminder for everyone that Miss Sheila is on through virtual meeting, and as long as we've also got several other guests and Central Office personnel, Peter and Kenny are on via Zoom as well, or Google Meet. Miss Mallory is on as well, our student representative. So just want to let everybody know that they are here.
First on our agenda, we have our recognitions, and we'd like to start with our mountain movers.
Well, we'll start with that. And it's always a good part of our meeting. We always like to recognize our mountain movers. And we'll start out today I'm going to start out with our certified mountain mover who is here with us today. So our certified mountain mover this month is Miss Kristen Richardson. Kristen is a second grade teacher at Estill Springs Elementary. This is her 11th year of teaching. She's taught many different grade levels in special education, and she's worked in Estill, Powell, and Madison County. Crystal says that she loves building relationships with her students and seeing the amount of growth that she can help them achieve all around, not only with educational goals, but personal goals as well. And Kristen, we're pleased to honor you this month. And Miss Carrie, you want to come forward and
Sure.
present her? If we can get a picture as well. You want to step over? And here is her. Here's her Medal of Excellence, and let me get a picture so we'll have those.
Thank you.
Stay with her there, and we want to get a picture, so we'll have it. We'll try to get it out.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Kristen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you, Kristen.
Thank you, Lord. I appreciate it.
I'm so proud. I'll help you watch those babies anytime.
Thank you.
Our other two mountain movers were not. Yes, ma'am.
She's one of my former students, and she would found out even in the 5th grade being a teacher.
Well, that's absolutely wonderful.
I'm so
And
proud of her.
I wish she could have heard that before you left, but we'll make sure we'll pass it on to her, okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Our other two mountain movers, our next honoree is Miss Sheila Blackwell, and she's our classified mountain mover this month. Sheila's a paraeducator at West Irvin and has been employed by the Estill County School System for 26 years. And she's worked at both Estill Springs and West Irvin. Sheila says that she enjoys her job and loves the staff and students that she works with every day. So we'll make sure that we get this certificate to her along with her Medal of Excellence. And finally, we want to recognize our community mountain member. And our community mountain member this month is our Save-A-Lot food store here in Irvin. And Mr. Keith Dennis is the manager at Save-A-Lot. Just some information about Save-A-Lot. Save-A-Lot store 24650 in Irvin has served the Estill County community for over 30 years. Manager Keith Davis has been in his position for the past 20 years. Save-A-Lot has supported community and school programs by sponsoring sports teams and sporting events, product donations, and through their Friends Helping Friends program that provides food and Christmas assistance for the needy Estill County families. And I know last year when we was working with food donations and food baskets for our families, Save-A-Lot was right there to be a community partner with us, and we really appreciate them, and we appreciate everything they do for us. And so Keith, thank you very much for everything you do. And that's it.
Okay. Congratulations to all of our mountain movers. We're moving along. Next on our agenda, we have our facilities and construction updates.
I know you're jumping over.
Oh, I forgot the middle school. I'm sorry.
Well, the middle school is going to wait, but now you jumped over B, and that's school board recognition. So I want to take the floor for just a minute. This is School Board Month, School Board Recognition Month, and we want to always recognize our board members for the job that they do. I don't think everybody understands the role of, number one, what a board member is to begin with, but I know that the community and public thinks that board members have a lot more duties and a lot more power than they actually do, and I know sometimes you guys have to answer a lot of questions, and you know, you have to deal with things sometimes that I wish that you didn't have to. I know that you're making a huge salary to be in this position, and but I don't think that everybody really realizes that board members receive $150 per meeting. And so it's not, they don't do it for the money. They don't do it for the glory. They do it because they're here for the kids and they're here for the community. So I would like to just recognize our board members here on School Board Recognition Month. And of course, I have a certificate for you guys that I want to present you. And if you all don't care, I'll let you all come forward. I'm gonna get a picture of you all, and then we'll get one of Miss Sheila a little bit later. But Miss Tammy Hardy, you'll come up.
You gonna do the picture of the group, or you gonna?
I'll do let's do individual, I guess, and then I can get one of Sheila. We'll do right here. Rebecca, you wanna come right here? Get them?
Guess I can put the mic down.
Yeah, you can pull the mask down. Miss Carrie Smallwood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Miss Donna Isford. Ladies first. And Mr. Brian Covey. We waited to utilize the cat sometimes or back at camera. And Miss Sheila, I want you to see your certificate. And the next time that I'm able to see you, I'll make sure that you get your certificate, but congratulations as well. Again, I want to thank our board members for everything they do. They have to make a lot of tough decisions sometimes. But I tell you, I can speak for this board. I've always known our board to always try to do what's best for children. We don't always agree on every issue, and that's okay. But I tell you what we've been able to do, we've been able to work together as colleagues, and I even believe as friends, to do what's best for our school system and for our kids and our staff members. So again, thank you all very much for everything you do. And that is it for recognitions, but I would add one last thing about the middle school. Just because we've not been in school, I've asked the middle school to present on the same night that we're going to have the ACT open house. And we'll have our meeting on March 17th at Estill County High School. So the high school will present as well as the middle school that night at the board meeting. So that'll be a big night for us at that meeting. So I will pass the torch back to you, Miss Donna.
I guess now we're ready for our facilities and construction updates.
Yes, we are.
That would be Mr. Peter.
And Mr. Kenny Davis, who's with us as well.
Yeah.
So Kenny, if you can lead us off, that'd be great.
Yes, sir.
And if you can put them back up on the big screen there for everybody, Jeremy.
So as far as the softball and baseball complex,
Let's go ATC first.
okay, ATC, all right.
Yeah.
So we got your flooring in, obviously, over the holidays. I think the flooring that we did for the replacing the VCT got completed. And then I think also, Mr. Saylor, you guys got your residence flooring put down as well in your labs. We're still working off the punch list for the new flooring work that's been put in. We're still answering any kind of calls that might come from the principal or Mr. Saylor regarding warranty items. So for all intents purposes, that work is all but done. There are two that we got to approve for the ATC work for the diesel tech lab that we'll get to, I'm sure. But that kind of wraps up the ATC. So like I think we said before, we're 99.9% done with the ATC work.
Does anybody have any questions, guys? It's just a few punch list items. I don't even know. We're probably beyond 99.9%, but we just got a few things we got to wrap up. And Teresa Carpenter and I worked together today. Teresa, of course, is secretary there at Codell. We worked together today. We request reimbursement for almost $720,000 worth of equipment for our labs. And that work has been done. Peter, you should be getting an email to sign off from Work Ready Skills sometime this week or early next week. So we're about ready to close this thing out. So I don't know, Kenny, if you got anything else to add. If not, we've got a small pay app and 2 change orders.
That's it for me on ATC.
Okay. So, Ms. Donna, I think we're ready for the pay app.
Okay. So I need an approval to pay the application that's been presented.
Which is for $55.51. It's pay app 28.
First by Brian Covey, I need a second. Carrie Smallwood makes a second.
Okay.
Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Is Sheila voted aye, so it's a 5-0 yes vote. Motion carries.
Now we've got the 2 change orders, Kenny.
Yeah, so at the owner's request, there was some air hose reels and some electrical upgrades to the diesel tech lab that needed to be provided for the owner furnished equipment. And so what we have there, we have 2 change orders, one for the mechanical and plumbing contractor CKSM, which is 14-7 in the amount of $9,656. And then also, and that was for the hose reels. And then Babcom, which was the electrician, which is change order 901-8. That's in the amount of $8,772.33. And that was for the electrical upgrades that needed to happen for that owner furnished equipment.
And if you all remember, as we was going through the design process with Ross Tarrant on these labs, we knew that there was going to be some equipment that was going to have to be bought after the fact. And we knew that there would be some change orders in terms of electricity, and in this case, air hoses and some different items. We were prepared for these. So these are at our request, and I believe it's appropriate. We can make one motion to approve both of those change orders. So that would be my recommendation, that we would approve both change orders.
I need a motion to approve both change orders. Yes. Brian Covey makes a motion. Do we have a second? Amy Hardy makes a second.
Second.
Do we have any? Do you have something, Miss Sheila?
Aye.
She's voting aye.
All in favor then? Any opposed? So Miss Sheila was an aye vote, and so it's 5-0, motion carries. Is there anything else with the APC?
No, that's it. Just know that the big items that's left out there, we've got the black topping from down in front of the building up through the middle school loop, and we've got some the drainage ditch in the back of the building. We're just waiting on good weather to lay the blacktop. That's the 2 main items, and we're practically done. It's just getting the weather to cooperate.
And then we'll be working on the steps that go from there to the back parking lot.
That is still, that's part of the high school, and that's a PR that's out on the high school project in terms of what the final cost of those steps are going to be, but that is in the works.
And yep,
That's it for the ATC.
so we're moving on to the high school update.
Okay, for the softball and baseball complex, that job is progressing. It's our intentions to be done next month. There's still work to do up there, obviously, but like Mr. Saylor said, the weather has not been very kind to us the last couple of weeks, but and also we're still fighting supply chain issues up there. We're missing some structures with the sanitary and the water vault. So it'll come down to the wire, which all of them are at this stage right now with COVID and supply chain. But again, our intentions are to be substantial next month and get your coaches out on the field sometime next month to start prepping their fields for their spring practices. As for the football complex, that's been some really tough sledding the last month. We've lost 10 days. So normally you have 20 working days, 20 to 22, depending on what month it is, of working days. We lost 10 of those days due to weather. If you've been out there, it's a muddy mess. You can see that. We're digging 15, 20 foot deep for the storm drainage. And every time we try to dig, it's all muddy and wet and it collapses. And we're being safe with trench boxes and so forth, but it's just tough sledding out there right now. So we need this hard freeze that's getting ready to happen so we can start being more productive. When the ground freezes, it'll freeze before it'll dry out. So we're hoping to catch some luck with that. Today we had our meeting, and we are behind a little bit in that area. So we asked that our main contractor develop a recovery schedule that's going to let us get caught back up, and obviously the name of the game is having this thing ready for the August football game. So again, like I said, it's just been tough with the weather, but I give the guys credit, they're trying. So, and then as far as existing field house, we actually started that renovation work this week. That shouldn't take too long, but it gives us a place to work when it does. When there is inclement weather, we can go in there and work when it's in the dry. So we'll be in and out of that area over the next couple of months as well.
Anybody with any questions?
Heard some people say that they saw the drawings at Citizens Guarantee Bank in the front newly renovated lobby, and they were very impressed with that.
Well,
People enjoy seeing, the boards.
we really felt like that we needed to get those out there. Peter worked hard with his crew to get those to develop for us, and we started at Citizens Guarantee. I think they're getting ready to go to Save-A-Lot here this week or early next week. So we're trying to get them out there where people can see them. It's hard right now to imagine with that, as Kenny described it, a muddy mess out there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of work that's been going on, and just be patient. It's going to happen. I've got full faith that they're going to do it. I mean, it will be ready on time unless, just every single thing that could happen goes wrong. We don't expect that, but just understand we're under the, under whatever the weather gives us. So, but they are trying. They've been out there and they have been present and trying to work. So I do appreciate that. Anybody else? Then we've got a pay app for, looks like $594,000 in change. So my recommendation is that we make that payment.
You have a motion to,
I make a motion.
Ms. Sheila made the motion.
Do we have a second? Amy Hardy makes the second. Do we have any discussion? I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? It's a 5-0 vote. Ms. Sheila voted aye.
And Kenny, we should expect several change orders next month, correct? We're needing to try to get some of these PRs taken care of.
Yes, sir. Today in our meeting, we discussed there's some of them being revised, some of them waiting on some pricing, but yeah, we'll have those in your all's hands before the next meeting.
And just know there's several big change orders out there. You've got your gym lobby, you've got some work on your student parking lot, you got the work out front on the parking lot. The steps is a change order. So there's several big ticket items out there, and we got to see how much they're going to cost, and then that tells us what we can do and what we cannot do. So thank you, Kenny and Peter, for those reports. I know Peter's been pretty quiet on those. He's getting ready. You tell he's in the bullpen warming up there, getting ready. So Kenny, anything else for us?
No, I'm good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kenny, for all your work.
Thank you.
We've not seen him without a mask. We need to discuss some future projects now, Mr. Saylor.
Yep, Peter, I think you got a copy of the agenda?
I do not have a copy of the agenda, so but I have a list of our agenda items and a
Okay.
list of the projects. So if you could let me know which one to address, I'll be happy to do it.
We can just,
Tell you.
we can just tell them, very first item, Peter, is going to be the ARPS or sanitary line project for the high school.
Okay, so what I have to report tonight is that we did have a bid opening for a revision to that project. It was a competitive negotiation bid opening, and Lagco Incorporated did provide a bid to replace the line down the football field side. They put in a bid for $283,431. In the interim, I think the district has reached out for a couple of other opportunities. The design team, sort of as a whole, feels like that cost, while it may seem a lot better than the ones we've received in the past, is still pretty high. And we are reluctant to recommend that the district take this bid without sort of taking a look at a couple of other opportunities to possibly get this work done in another way. And I don't know if you wanted to address that in any other way, Mr. Saylor, this evening, or...
I would just say this, guys. I think that we have a duty to be good stewards of what this school district has. And I don't think that these companies are trying to do anything or they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. I think there are some legitimate concerns that they have, but I also think that because of those concerns, we're getting an inflated price. And, you know, the clock is ticking. We are on a clock here to get this work done because this particular portion of the sewer line that we're talking about will leave the new field house area and go through the edge of the stadium. And the other part of that is the main sewer line for our high school. So it's just not that we can take it down or whatever. So we are on a time crunch, but I can tell you this, we're not on that much of a time crunch. And I'm going to recommend to you all a bid that is probably anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 higher than what we believe that work should cost. Based on just some estimates and things that we've received in the last couple of days. I've reached out to Jim Codell as well. So we're exploring a couple different options here. And we will have to probably do something at the February meeting. Mm-hmm. But we're not at the point yet. We have to do this. So I'm going to ask that you table it. Give us one more month, give us another 20 working days to try to figure this out. And Peter and Kenny and all of them, they understand how important this is, but I'm just not willing at this point in time to commit us. $100,000 is a lot of money. I mean, it's just not money we're going to throw away. I'm not saying we'd be throwing it away. We'd get the job done, but I think that there is some room for improvement here, and I think that's fair. That's a fair statement. I appreciate the companies that have bid, but we're going to try to see if there's another way to skin this cat.
So, I'd like to have a motion to table that construction contract award for the Estill sanitary line project at the high school.
I'll make the motion.
So Brian and Sheila second. Is that good for you, Sheila?
That's fine.
Okay.
Do we have any discussion regarding this project or tabling?
I mean, I think it's obvious. Anytime you can save money, I mean, that's obvious what we're going to do. We can always come back to this, to the situation we're in. We can always come back to that, I guess.
This is round 3 for this.
Yeah,
It is.
Peter's tried 3 different ways now to tackle this, and I guess we're looking at 4A and 4B now.
Yeah.
So, that's what the public expects of us. They expect us to be good stewards.
We're gonna do due diligence.
We're going to do due diligence. And
If it turns out that it is a $280,000 job, we'll pay it. That's what, we don't want anybody to do something and lose money. But we also, we think that there's a fair price for us as well, so.
There's a first and second motion on the floor. I'll call for a vote at this time. All in favor?
Aye.
So Ms. Sheila votes aye, and that makes it a 5-0 vote. Motion carries. Okay, we're moving on to the Estill County Central Storage Demolition Project. Mr. Saylor, you have.
Was you able to hear that, Peter, the demo?
I was, yes. So this is, we have presented the board this evening with the action item for construction documents for the demolition of the central storage building there next to Estill Springs. Previously,
pull that up there by, Jeremy.
You got two documents,
I think it's the,
it's page 3 of the drawings. It would be the best one to sort of start with.
page 3.
yes.
That'll give you an idea. That's going to be showing the demolition of the building and how we're addressing. And then the page 4 will show you all how the area is going to be dressed in preparation for some work that's going to happen on the Estill Springs project.
Okay, we're ready. We're on page 3, so.
Okay, so page 3 of the drawings is a pretty good place to start, just to give you all an indication of how we have notated the demolition of the building and the other items that are going to be demolished as part of this as we prepare this area for this memorial and this outdoor space for Estill Springs. And that, of course, will be coming in that project a little bit further down the road. KDE did approve this project. They made it a Tier 4 project, which means they don't need to see construction documents. So once you all approve construction documents, we will be able to put this one out to bid and solicit bids to do this work. A couple of things that you need to know, I guess, about, Jeremy, if you could go to page 4 real quick. I can't see when you're there, so I apologize.
They're there right now.
Okay, so page 4 just shows you how this place is going to look after it's gone in preparation for the Estill Springs project, right? So that's how the land will sort of work, how things will end up after we're complete with this project. A couple of things to note real quickly. There is, I have asked Air Source Technology to reach out to the district to discuss hazardous material abatement, which is something we'll want to take care of before bulldozers hit the building. And we are also, as part of this project, there is an amount of masonry and stone salvage that'll be happening as well. We want to provide a memorial on this property as part of the Estill Springs project that will include some of the stone and the brick from the building. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
So they'll basically get it sorted to grade of what we're going to need it to be. The square that's out in front right there, that's where the tree is located.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make every effort to save that tree as part of that front yard area. So they'll work on that. We don't expect a huge issue with asbestos based on Peter's conversations with Air Source. But all this is covered in the document. This is, of course, you approved the BG1. This is being paid for through general fund dollars. It's in our budget right now. Since it is a demolition of property, we hope to go ahead, and I think Peter's ideal is that if you all approve this tonight, we'll get bid documents out there and go to bid. We are going to have, as you know, several months ago, we surplused all the old furniture and everything in that building.
So we're in the process of getting it ready, and we're going to advertise for the public to be able to come in if there's anything that they want in terms of desk or chairs or some of those things. And we're going to have a 1 day, maybe a 2 day surplus sale. And once that's done, everything that's left in the building, they've been instructed, it goes out with trash, just like everything else. So sort of sad to see the building come down, but it's run its course. It's where it's at, and we'll be able to create an area there that's going to be a fun space for kids. It'll have that memorial plaza that all the stonework and brick will be used to have that memorial marker. And there's also a wall along through there in the area that we've developed that not only the kids can use, but if Irvin High graduates, they want to have some type of meeting there or type of reunion during the summer, there'll be plenty of space to do so. And of course, the big project as we move forward is the exit, which I believe that KYTC has approved as of right now for us to move forward. So we will be looking to put an exit there by that building that's going to come on the lower side there out. So,
And Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, that was gonna be kind of amphitheater style, sunken.
Yes. Yeah. That's sort of an outdoor classroom kind of space, but it could also be used by the public. So it wouldn't be just geared towards elementary school kids, but that would be available for Estill Springs on
it includes a playground as well, correct?
Yes.
I think
It does. Yeah. We'll get to that slide here in just a few minutes. So it's part of another project.
My recommendation is that we move forward with construction documents on the demolition of Old Irvin.
Do we have a motion to approve that construction?
I'll make the motion.
document?
Sheila made the motion.
Do we have a second? Amy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any further discussion?
I hate to see, it's just one of those things, but all good things come to an end. So.
Yeah, and in terms of all clear, to just to be open with everybody, I had somebody call me 2 weeks ago, like to do something with the building. Well, it's about 6 years too late. That building, the roof is out. Right now, for anybody to do anything with that building, you'd have to spend $2 million just to get it to where you could start construction. It's shot. I mean, it's sad, but it's just the case. The person that called about it, they thought that it was you could move in and do something in the next few weeks. And I just, no, I don't know who you've been talking to, but I was really surprised the last time we was in it, just a few weeks ago. I mean, it's unreal the damage that's occurred just in the last year. I mean, it's just in bad shape.
Back when the school was decommissioned, I mean, the board just didn't have the money to put into it at that time. And even then, it was a lot of money to fix it.
When you decommission a building, that automatically stops your ability to spend money on it. In terms of facility money. Now, you probably could get by spending general fund money, but what are you going to cut? You're going to cut a teacher. You're going to cut books for kids. I mean, it's just sad that old buildings, if you can't find some type of interest in them while they're still in good shape, then it's just part of it. But I know that I can lay my head down every night, and this board and previous boards, you can lay your head down and be rest assured that we tried everything we knew to do to save this building. But now we're going to move on. We're going to have a great place for our kids, and we're still going to be able to, everybody's going to know that's where Old Irvin High sat. So it's going to be really a nice place when it's said and done. So
I think this outdoor classroom space is going to be something really, really exciting, not only for our school system, but for our community. It's going to be a beautiful spot.
I don't know if Mr. Slater talked about that before, but I've had comments along the way, and I just want to bring that up so you would explain that again. We have done everything we could possibly do in our power to make sure that, you know, we have vested interest and trying to get people on board to try to work together to do that, but it always going to fall on us, and we could not.
It's where it's at. We need to get it down before somebody gets injured and gets hurt.
So with all of this discussion, I need to call for a vote. All in favor of moving forward with this project? Ms. Sheila?
5-0.
It's a 5-0 vote, motion carries. Thank you all, I know that's very hard. We're moving on to consider approval of the asbestos demolition survey with Air Source Technology.
Peter has spoken with Air Source Technologies, and they will come in here in the next few weeks. I thought I would have this. And Peter, if you don't care, follow back up with them, tell them we're waiting on the proposal.
Absolutely.
For that, but we're looking at a proposal that will be based on Peter's conversation. It'll be less than $5,000, but we need for them to come in. One last check. We don't want to tear something down. We got kids next to that building. We don't want asbestos to be an issue. We've also got a lot of community members. That's a family neighborhood there with a lot of families and stuff. We want to make sure that we do it the right way. So I want to go ahead.
I was just going to say, and there are funds in the BG1 set aside to tackle this issue. So, and it's a pretty good sum. So you don't need to worry about that.
So it is part of the BG1. So I just need your approval as soon as that gets to us. Let's put it this way. If it's over $10,000, I'll come back to you all, but I expect it to be under 5. Okay. And if you want to make that part of the motion that you approve it up to a $10,000 amount, then that's fine with me, or however y'all want to do it.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and approve asbestos removal up to a $10,000 mark?
I make the motion.
Motion, Sheila Semple.
Sheila would make the second.
Do we have any discussion related to this? I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor? Ms. Sheila's an aye vote, so it's a 5-0 vote. Motion carries. So that brings us down to the Estill Springs Elementary ARP ESSER renovation / addition project.
All right. I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I have 3 different agenda items that I sent into the district. I'm going to assume that the schematic design drawings are the first one on the list.
No, you're wrong.
Oh,
Owner architect agreement.
okay.
The revision to it.
Yes, so we've just sent you all a draft copy of the owner architect agreement. This is for we already had one in place, but when the district decided to move forward with a CM and hire Codell for this project, we needed to revise our owner architect agreement with you guys, and that's what this is. It just is a different construction delivery method.
Peter, have we already approved the contract with Codell as well? Probably a note for you to make sure that Kenny can get that to us. I don't think we've approved that contract.
I'll check.
Okay.
I'll check, Mr. Saylor, with Francis in the morning.
Sounds good. Let's just make sure we don't want nothing holding anything up.
Yes, sir.
So my recommendation is to approve that revision.
I have a motion to approve the revision to the document change at Estill Springs. Amy Hardy makes a motion. Do we have a second? Harry Smallwood makes a second. Any discussion? I'd like to call for a vote at this time then. All in favor? Ms. Sheila votes aye, and it's a 5-0 vote. Motion carries. Okay, Peter, we're moving along to
You won't give them a 50-50 chance of guessing?
No, I can see it now. Jeremy's put it up on my screen so I can see it. Looks like we're moving to the schematic design. And Jeremy, I don't know if you have the drawing set that I sent. People will be interested to see what we're sort of showing. It's not going to be that one. Although, yeah, there you go. So this is the site plan for the addition portion of the Estill Springs project, right? So we've just updated this a little, make it pretty for you guys and for KDE. They'll be seeing this for the first time after you all approve it. The Estill Springs project, which has been approved, the most recent BG1 has been approved again, is a tier 1 project. It means KDE wants to see documents 3 times. They want to see a schematic design, which is what this is. And then they'll want to see design development and construction documents as we move forward. So as you all can see, we've gone over this plan with you all before about how the parent drop-off loop would work in the back and the parking lot, and how that would work in the back, and how we would have the new exit out onto 89 to alleviate traffic concerns on the back roads there next to Estill Springs. And and then you can see sort of the memorial park there with the playground and the areas with the new sort of the memorial marker and how that would work. All of that is being worked on as we speak in our office. We will, after this particular submittal, we will be breaking this up. We're going to be going forward with an early site package to kind of get the parent loop and this part of the project done over this coming summer. And then the addition and the work inside the school and around the school itself will probably be trailing a little bit. So that's sort of the plan on this one. And I'll be happy to answer. Jeremy, if you can go to the next slide real quick. Yeah, so here you can see on the far right of the drawing, you can see the new 4 classroom addition. 2 of the classrooms do have a restroom attached. And this is a lot like what we talked about when we initially did this. This would be just an extrusion of the same architectural language that the building has. That you all sort of requested. So you can just imagine that wing, that classroom wing, getting a little bit larger. And we like the cross corridor there that runs in between the 2 buildings for a couple of reasons, but it's going to be a really nice addition for the school. And again, I'll be happy to answer any questions. We are also doing some work in the gym and the media center at the school. We are going to be renovating, we're going to be doing new flooring and new bleachers in the gym and renovating the media center as well. And there is a hardware component to this one. There are about 35 doors that did not get upgraded as part of the last renovation project there inside the building. And we'll be making sure that those are all brought up to the district's current system.
That is a safety feature, guys, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, I know we talked about the media center before. Just the extent that's going on in there, because as I told you earlier, we've already replaced a carpet in that area and it's been painted. What other renovations are you looking at there?
So you can remember back, Jeff, to original discussions about this addition renovation, and there were several options to actually, instead of doing a classroom addition, doing a media center addition.
Right.
And I think that this particular scope has stayed in the project as an opportunity to provide a new look to the media center.
Okay.
It is not something, if that's something the district feels like they have already done, then, we certainly don't have to pursue that.
Let's talk about it, because it is practically renovated. I mean, I don't
I don't care to, to try to modernize it any way we can, but we also don't want to throw away things that we've done within the last year or 2 years as well. So, and it may give us an opportunity to save some money as well. We don't want to skimp by any means, but we also don't want to redo work that was just done.
I was thinking the gym is with
Correct.
Which I think the gym is supposed to get new flooring, and it's also getting new bleachers.
Yes.
The gym has been painted, so it's done all the way down to the floor. I know we had explored the possibility of using the floor from Old Irvin.
Yeah, that we did look into that relatively extensively, and it's just not the kind of thing that transfers well at all. It was not going to be, even if the floor had proven to be in really good shape, it would get destroyed being moved. And there's an elevation change that would have had to have been accommodated as well. Wood floor systems, have 2 or 3 inches that Estill Springs slab on grade doesn't really provide.
So I just want everybody to know that we did look at that, but it is just not feasible to do so. Any of you guys got any questions?
So now are we gonna like sell it in sections, or if somebody wants to buy the floor, or how
We have not looked into anything like that, Tammy, to be honest.
that they shared with us was trying to get it removed without it breaking into a million pieces.
Yeah, and the stability in that building, I've got a real concern about us allowing people in there to do anything. I mean, we're gonna, do that furniture sale and stuff like that. My thought process is that I just don't know how or who, in terms, Tammy, of where we've got the time to do that moving forward. My thought process also is that once this contractor gets the bid, if this contractor wants to allow and they take control of that facility, if they want to allow somebody to cut up a piece of the flooring, or they want to allow somebody to do something, we'd just let them work with the contractor. So I know that there are some people that has expressed interest. As that building comes down, there'll be somebody that'll want to grab a brick. So they can go. They can probably, they can go grab a brick or anything. But what we're going to do is get it in the hands of the contractor, and then the contractor at that point in time can be responsible, because part of the demo process is that they're going to give you a price to demo that building based on what they can also salvage out of that building. So in other words, like the windows, I think most of the windows are in decent shape. They're not the old windows that was in it before. They've been there a while, but I think they could be salvaged. They might want to try to salvage some of that flooring. I think they're going to have a very difficult time based on Peter and them looking at it, because of the type of nails and stuff that was used. Plus, you got to remember that building's had no heat, no air. So it's went through the elements now, at least the change in temperature over time. They really felt like that floor is going to split all to pieces when you start trying to bring it up. It's not going to be something that's going to be able to be used. So we'll talk to the contractor, and if they want to make some type of arrangement with something like that, but I'd like to get the school district out of that from a liability standpoint.
One thing I would say is I would love to see, which if we can't do it, we just can't do it. So I've been to other high school gyms, they've had previous schools or previous floors. And it's kind of the same deal as, Cats, if they win national championship, they got center court there.
Yeah.
It's all put together, hanging on the wall. It would be really great if we could just somehow cut out the very center part, where you jump for the ball, that center court, and maybe hang that on the wall at Estill Springs Gym or something. I just thought about that and thought that would be neat.
We talked about that when we were down there looking at it. We talked about
We can have them look at that. I believe we could work with the contractor on something like that. Don't you agree, Peter?
I do. I think it's the last time that I went to the building to kind of take a look at it, it wasn't real accessible to see that big old eye there in the middle of the floor. But absolutely, I feel like that's something that you can work with the contractor on.
The other thing they had mentioned was the top on the bleachers.
I know that I think Todd was going to try to salvage some of the bleachers. They're in the process of trying to salvage the things that the district can use. There's not much in there that the district can use, but they're in the process of that. Tell you something that's happened is that those bleacher seats, they have warped. I mean, they're in terrible shape. I don't know if there's one straight board in the whole joint. Because again, the difference in temperature has caused those boards to warp. They are going to look at that. I'll make sure as we meet with maintenance here over the next few days, if there are some of those boards that can be salvaged. I'm not really interested. I know there's people that's asked about one of those boards or something. You know, if somebody wants to make a donation or something, if they want a board, we can do something like that. But to really sit down, try to sell it and put somebody in charge of selling it, you know, it would tie somebody's time up quite a bit.
Like if Todd and some of the guys in maintenance got one of those boards and was able to refinish it and put a plaque with it and hang it on the board wall or hang it in front when you come into central office or something like that.
We'll see what they can salvage and try to go from there. We sure will.
Okay, with all that discussion then, did we make motion?
I'm trying to remember.
Did we make-
I don't think we did. So
I need a motion.
to approve the schematic design.
Okay. Tammy Hardy makes a second. Anything else? We need to call for a vote. All in favor? Sheila?
You're muted, Sheila. She may have had to step away for a minute, so we'll catch her back up in a minute.
So,
Last item, Peter, on
Aye.
Estill Spring.
There we
There she
go.
is.
There she was.
You
Okay,
voted
good.
aye. Good deal.
So the last one is our geotechnical engineer to do some work on this. This is a recommendation from Ross Tarrant based on solicited proposals to move forward with L.E. Gregg as the engineer to do geotechnical exploration at Estill Springs. And I believe, if I've got this right, they propose $6,863, and they could turn around the work in 5 to 6 weeks. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have about that.
That's my recommendation.
motion. Brian Covey makes a motion, Tammy Hardy makes a second. Do we have any discussion? I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Any opposed? Ms. Sheila's an aye vote, so it's 5-0. Motion carries. Peter, do you have anything else for us?
I do. You're so patient. At least I think I do.
You got West Irvin.
There we go.
You better not leave them out.
No.
So you guys, we have construction documents for the West Irvin Pavement Improvements Project. I was trying to think of the best page, Jeremy, of this one is probably down page 5 of this document. Probably gives everybody the best look at what we're doing at West Irvin. KDE just approved this project earlier this week, which is fantastic news. And they, just like with the old Irvin project, they don't really need to see construction documents on this one. So once you all approve it, we'll be able to go out to bid. Now, the waiting for KDE to approve the project, I have a few electrical and light pole issues that we need to catch up on before we go out to bid. But we want to make sure that information is on the drawings so that the parking lot is well lit. And but this is a really nice addition. But you can see the walkways leading into the school, the sidewalks leading around to the school from the lower parking lot. and all of the additional parking that'll be available there. We would like this to get out to bid quickly so that we can have a contractor lined up to get the work done in the spring and be done and out of there.
I agree. I think if we can get it done April, May, we'll get it done. And summer school will be at West Irvin, so it'd be nice if we can get them out of there by June. It'll be 4 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks during the month of June. So I think moving forward, they've got a good plan. It looks really good. A lot of new parking and
It's really gonna address that school up too.
yeah, it'll clean that up. That's an eyesore down there, that pit. It's basically what you have. I'm really appreciative, that a lot of money probably saved when I know that we was able to work with Hinkle. I think they had approached Mr. Beckley when he was on the board about putting gravel and stuff in that lot. I think that saved us a lot of money. There'll be some more grading and stuff that have to be done, but I do think it will help tremendously towards that project. So moving forward, it's part of capital outlay cash. Peter, let me ask you this. I know probably that parking lot is going to be used, probably not that it wouldn't be used in the evenings, but it's probably going to be used mainly during the day and different things like that, or during daylight hours. Do we have any concerns on this project with budget? Do we feel like the budget is pretty set, or would it be a good idea maybe to have the lighting done as an alternate, in case that we did? We're very limited on our capital outlay cash.
Correct.
So
we can absolutely do it that way. Yes.
How do you all feel about having the lighting done as an alternate? Because I would see this parking lot, when's it going to be used? During open houses, in the afternoons for school dismissal, that type of things, mainly for ball game traffic or something like that. The upper parking lots, they're going to be using those more than they would use those lower parking lots. I'm not saying we won't do the lighting, but it might give us the ability to, if it does come in over budget, it might give us the ability to move forward and not have to table it and rebid it at another date. What's your all's thoughts?
I agree.
I agree.
Peter, if it's possible, let's, Sheila, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I said I'd agree.
We definitely want to do the lighting if at all possible, but let's say this thing comes in $60,000, $70,000 over budget. That's not, we don't have a ton of capital outlay cash out there because we've got the rest of our money committed to Estill Springs. So the lighting could be something that could be pulled out. It's not a big ticket item, but it's something that could be, several $1,000s that might help keep us on budget. So maybe if we could just bid it that way, Peter, that we would have an alternate for the lighting on the project.
Okay, we'll do it that way.
So we just need approval on these documents and they'll get things ready and we'll be ready to go to bid, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm asking for a motion for consideration of approval of construction documents for the West Irvin Pavement project. I have a motion from Brian Cody. Do we have a second? Tammy Hardy makes a second. Any further discussion? I'd like to call for a vote at this time. All in favor? Ms.
Aye.
Sheila?
Aye.
5-0. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you much.
I think maybe now we're done, Peter.
That is that is it. Thank you all very, very much for your patience and your time tonight.
We can let Peter and Kenny both go.
Thank you. Okay,
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
moves us down to our action items.
Okay. I guess we'll start with the first one, which would be our draft budget. Of course, it's due, it's regulatory. We have to have a draft budget approved at the January meeting. Just some highlights on what we've had done. Jeremy's trying to get it loaded.
remember that this document, it's only about the first 4 or 5 pages that you have to look at, because by reg, you only have to have a draft budget for your general fund dollars. And so it only includes about the first 4 or 5 pages of that document. Basically, what we've done at this point is that we have rolled the budget pretty much as it was this year. In terms of, we don't anticipate a lot of staffing changes or anything along that line. We have reallocated some money. As you know, in this budget, there's a truck for transportation, a truck for maintenance. There's money in the budget for a new tractor to take care of some of the farmland and stuff that we bought. So we've reallocated some of that money in terms of using it in maintenance to possibly help pay for some of the high school projects and those types of things. But overall, the budget pretty much reflects the same as it did last year. As you all know, right now, there is money, additional money in the budget. I think House Bill 1 is supposed to pass tomorrow, which is the budget, which will go on to the Senate. If it does pass, then it does mean a pretty substantial raise in SEEK allocations. I guess my big disappointment in this budget is there are not any mandated raises for school employees. But if you all remember, I think we told our employees last year that if all possible, we're going to try to do another 1% raise. So that 1% raise is in the budget for certified personnel. I've also looked at it from the standpoint when you give classified workers a 1% raise, you're normally only talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of 11 to 15 cents an hour. So I've actually put a 2% raise for classified people in the budget. So we're trying to be conservative at this point because the budget's not passed. We've got to wait till we really have a budget to where we can bring you something back in May. There also talk about giving us more transportation money, which could provide us more funds as well. But as you know, what generally happens in a budget, I'll give you an example right now. They're proposing a $100 per pupil increase in SEEK funding. That's about $210,000 to $220,000 for us. They turned right around and they cut the funding for the mental health counselor. So right off the bat, you lose $42,000 of that. If we propose a 1% raise and a 2% raise, 1% for certified, 2% for classified, then we've spent the $220,000. Now, also in there, we're supposed to get additional transportation money. So just know this doesn't bound us. We're not bound to give raises. I'm really working with Senator Storm, and I know that there's other individuals that's working with the Senate and saying, you not only need to mandate raises for school employees, you need to supply the money to give them. So we're really pushing for our employees. I asked Rebecca to add a couple charts today, and in terms of our average salaries, and those are done by KDE. And when you get down to teacher salaries, we've always been somewhere in the neighborhood of somewhere between 50 and 55 in the state. We've taken a little bit of back step. We're still in the top 75 in terms of pay. Beginning teacher pay is still in the top 50 some in the state. So I think that teachers, just like all other state workers, should be included in the budget, and there should be dedicated revenue sources to pay for those raises. But I do think that it would be wise for us to go ahead and put that in there. We did put some additional money in this budget, as I said, for construction projects that we need to do. You still have about a $1.6 million contingency. Angie's on the phone or on the meeting if anybody has any questions for Angie at this point. But I feel like it's a pretty good draft budget. But like I said, we're basically meeting the reg right now to tell you that this is firm. It's not firm, but I am committed, and I think you all are as well, to giving our employees raises if at all possible. So that's pretty much an overview. I don't know if you all have any other questions you might want to ask. Jeremy's actually got that chart up, and I think, Estill, if you go all the way down, Jeremy, I think we're somewhere around 70. That's for that rank. We're 72nd. For rank 2, we're 76, looks like. You sort of go down. Everybody always interested in, and we'll make these documents public. Everybody's always interested in superintendent salaries across the state. That's included. It'll be made public. You can see where the salaries of all the local superintendents, where they're at and what they look like. If you choose to want to do that, if anybody wants to see them. So my recommended motion would be that we would pass this budget. Again, Angie's here if anybody's got a question for her.
Anybody have anything for Miss Angie?
Miss Angie, did I leave anything out?
I don't think so, Mr. Saylor. Pretty preliminary at this point.
Everybody, please understand this. There's what's all subject to change. A budget is always a living, breathing document.
It is.
Right.
I need a motion to approve the draft budget. All right,
Make a motion.
First and a second by Brian and Tammy Hardy. Do we have any discussion? I'd like to call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Sheila votes aye, and just a 5-0 motion carries. Okay, Mr. Saylor, we're moving on to approval of the new COVID-19 guidance.
And we've got Miss Erica on the line if you all have any questions for Erica. But as of last week, there was new COVID guidance that was released by the state. And we've worked in conjunction with the health department. I know we forwarded this plan, or let me take we out of that. Erica forwarded the plan. After Erica and I discussed it, Erica worked on adapting our plan, and it was forwarded to the health department. And the health department feels like that what we have presented based on the state guidance is acceptable to them as well. And I think it's really a good thing that they have recognized that districts that have stayed masked, stayed wearing masks, we're going to be able to quit having to quarantine our kids. Kids are no longer having to quarantine for exposures. School districts no longer has to contact trace because of that. There's a difference between an individual who has COVID, who has to isolate, versus a student or an individual that may have to quarantine, but it's not the school district's responsibility any longer. Now, let me say this, couple points that I want to make, and then I'll let Erica fill in if she doesn't care to do that. We have decided that because it is very difficult for preschool students and for kindergarten students to continually wear a mask. Understand just the age range of that child just makes it hard. You're constantly trying to keep a mask on those students. So as a district, we've decided that we're not going to change the rules for preschool and kindergarten, because I have to not only think about those students, I've also got to think about the adults that are working closely with those students in those classrooms. But we do believe that beginning with first grade, those students have a better capability of continuing to wear their mask. And we felt like after talking to the principal, or Erica talking to the principal, that that was possible. So these new rule changes apply to grades 1 through 12. last point I will make, it does not involve athletics. The rules and the guidelines for athletics has not changed if it's an indoor sport. It's going to be different when it comes baseball, softball season. But right now, this is basketball season, and it is not changed for indoor sports. And you say, well, why not? Because they can't wear a mask. You can't practice basketball wearing a mask. You can't play a game wearing a mask. You have to realize the only reason we can make these changes is because as a school district, we continue to wear a mask. So in athletics, you can't wear a mask, especially in indoor activities. And so that does not change. If a student athlete tests positive, everybody on that team who has not been vaccinated has to quarantine for 10 days. A student athlete that tests positive, minimum 10 days, but once they come back, there's another 7-day waiting period that they have to go through specific guidelines to come back. That's part of the Kentucky Medical Association. And any student athlete that tests positive is going to minimum be out 17 days from the day they test positive. And that is nothing that anybody can do. The only way that athletes don't fall under this thing, if you are vaccinated, you do not have to quarantine. And that's just the luck of the draw. That is the guidelines. That's what we can live with. That's working with our health department. That's where we're at. Now, Erica, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add to that or if there's any questions for Erica, but she's here to answer any questions you all may have.
I think you did a good job explaining that, Mr. Saylor. The only thing I would add, just kind of to explain a little bit further on the point of where we are a universally masked district, we don't have to, we will not be contact tracing for in-school exposures, but they are still, for outside of the school, like in individual households and things like that, that contact tracing will still occur in the community based on, guidance from their doctor or health department. But as for in school, while we are universally masked, we do not have to contact trace in school exposures. But our plan is to, if we know of a positive case in a classroom, we're going to send out just a letter notifying the parents, just so they can continue to monitor their student for any signs or symptoms, just as a good, communication tool. And if there's any questions, I'll try my best to explain. It's a ever-changing, continuously kind of confusion that surrounds it, but I think everybody does well trying to adapt to it and works together as good as we can.
So you all know by law now, you all do have to approve this. This plan has to go back to KDE tomorrow as our revised plan. That came out of the special session that we had this fall.
The motion to approve the new COVID-19 guidance. Any hard motion? Do we have a second? There's no one makes a second. Do we have any discussion on this matter at this time? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries by vote.
Miss Erica, before you leave us, I know we are planning another vaccination clinic. Have you all arrived at a date for that? I know we've been out of school.
We have not. I've been in communication with the health department, and we're working on it. They've been extremely busy in the last 7 days or so. I think as a county in the last week, we've had the highest number since this pandemic even started. So we're hoping that it starts to calm down maybe just a little bit, and then we'll solidify a date at that point.
You think maybe here, I'm looking at February now, maybe sometime first full week of February, somewhere in there, we could maybe try to have another clinic if at all possible?
Yeah, I think that's completely doable.
And I think we would go ahead and do it here in our gym, just like we've been doing, and make it open to the public, to students, to everybody who wants to be vaccinated. Anything else? We'll let Erica go.
Thank you, Miss Erica.
Thank you.
So next on our agenda is our school nutrition and activity report. Oh, well, I'm missing the school calendar. How about that? That's a big ticket item.
Yeah, you better not miss that. I
That's a
know
big ticket item.
Mr. Norton, I think, was with us earlier, and I told him to just be available in case anybody has any questions. As you know, schools now have to they have to have a calendar committee, and he did meet with his calendar committee, and they were able to look at 2 different calendars, and it looks like that one's B. Is A under that, Jeremy? Okay, let's do A first. Calendar A was, of course, here's the caveat to this entire calendar. The first thing I tried to tell them is that we know that we've got construction that is going on. So what we've tried to do is plan a calendar that will not, come back to bite us next spring, in the spring of 23, because we don't want students having to go to school into June. But we also want to give our contractors plenty of time in August in order to be able to complete construction projects. Guys?
I was wondering why the circus late in August, stuff like that's awful late.
But back in the day, we always started that time.
Used to be when we always started, and then of course what happened, you started taking a full fall break, and all those breaks started adding days to the calendar. So we're sort of back to, like Miss Donna said, we're back to where we used to be 10, 12 years ago before fall breaks become so popular. But the whole idea is to try to start later to give those contractors a little bit more time. I don't know if you guys thought about this. You're going to have construction going on at South Urban. You're going to have construction going on at Estill Springs this summer. Hopefully the parking lot at West Irvin will be done before June, but you got construction going on at West Irvin. You've got the middle school restroom renovation project that's going on this summer. And then the high school is really the only building, the building itself, West Irvin, is not going to be touched. That's where summer school is going to be at. And the area technology center. We're going to have summer school for high school and middle school students in the new area technology center. That's the only building we've got this summer. Elementary students will be at West Irvin, and South Irvin students are going to be able to use the new wing down on the, I guess if you're standing on the left-hand side, the lunchroom, and that new wing will not be touched. So we've got construction going on everywhere. We want to make sure they've got plenty of time. So that's to give them an extra week and a half. As you know, they're the 19th, which is the 3rd day of school for students. That is, the Powell County Pirates will be making a trip to the new Hoover Neese Field to play football that night. So we are backed off a little bit. In order to back off, well, how are you going to make up those days? Well, we're down to a 2-day fall break in October. This calendar includes 2 full weeks for Christmas. And then, of course, we went ahead in order to make up days. I think it's got a 2-day spring break in April. Calendar was considered. The other calendar was calendar B. And the only difference in calendar B was, I think the start dates were the same. That's the only thing I really mandated from the office. But it still had a 2-day fall break. It only has an 8-day Christmas break. We would be able to go to school on the 19th and 20th, and this did present a full spring break. So we put this out to the public the last few days, got almost 600 responses. It's about probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 55-45. 55% chose calendar A, about 45% chose calendar B. I would tell you my personal preference. I think the 2 weeks at Christmas, to know that you're going to have 2 weeks off at Christmas is more valuable than knowing that you're going to have a week for spring break. Because what's happened, I've been here 7 years. Have we had a full spring break yet?
I think at this point, nobody expects to just due to the snow.
I do too. And I think basically what you're going to have happen is if you choose calendar B, you're going to get a short Christmas break and you're still going to lose spring break. The committee wanted to know, can the board ensure us that we won't lose spring break? We can't do that. We don't know what kind of winter it's going to be. So personally, I think calendar A is the better calendar. I believe that the greater percentage of people chose calendar A as well. There are some comments that were made during that survey, and I wouldn't mind if y'all don't care, let me have 2 minutes to address those comments. Some of them are not even calendar related. A lot of comments about NTI days. Why are you using NTI days? One comment was that kids should just be able to enjoy a snow day. Well, we cannot use NTI days if people don't want to, but they got to realize if we don't use NTI days and take advantage of kids being able to do NTI work from home during bad weather, then kids are going to be sitting in the classroom late May and early June. They're going to have to go. There's this ideal out there that the school district gets all these days and we don't have to make up these days. School calendar is every school has to go, every school district has to attend 170 days. Our actual calendar has 177 school days in it. Now we have some staff work days that can be count out of that 177. By law, we have to go 170 days. Now an NTI day can count as one of those 170. So that's the only way you can shorten your calendar. So the ideal that we don't like NTI days, we don't want to do NTI days because we want to enjoy snow. Well, right now you would be adding 6 days to the end of your calendar. So we would already be up past Election Day and almost to Memorial Day if we were having to make up all these days, and we're in January. So I just want everybody to realize, by law, you have to go 170 school days. An NTI day can count towards that 170. Normally, we've went more than 170 because we can have 7 staff work days if we want to. But there's been years we've only used 4 of them. So we went to school 173 days. The goal is to go to school as many days as possible in person. We want to do that always. So I just don't want, for full disclosure, I want everybody to realize we don't get a bunch of free days. You know, we've got to go 170 days, 1,062 hours. Donald, I know you're on here. Donald's doing a fantastic job as our new DPP. I don't know if there's any comments you'd like to make, Donald, or do you all have any questions for Donald?
No, Mr. Saylor, I don't have any comments. The only thing I think you didn't point out was, and it was a question on Facebook, was in calendar B, we're actually out on the 19th, and in calendar A, we're out on the 18th because there was some confusion, I think, with as far as our closing day.
And again, that all comes down to the fact of the number of days that you have to attend. I think that would be, I'm trying to think where that difference is that you're taking 2 days of Christmas break actually to give 3 back in spring. So that's why there's a 1 day difference. That's the only difference in the 2 calendars, is that you actually go 2 more days at Christmas, but you were taking off 3 more days at spring break. That bumped the closing date 1 day. Again, it's all based on 170 days. Remember that our employees, classified employees, are 185 days. Teachers are 187. That's based on 177 school days. That's 4 holidays, 4 PD days, opening and closing day. So that's what the calendar is based on. You have to have those
187 days in your calendar.
And something, Mr. Saylor, that we've never had to think about before is with the ATC, we had to work closely with Powell County and looking at what their calendar is because of those ATC teachers and their state contract.
That's a good point. And this calendar still reflects a lot of the same close, the calendar is very close to Madison counties as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yes, sir.
So we want to work with other school districts that we're partnering with. So I feel like calendar A is the best option. It's totally up to you guys. That's what the majority wanted, was calendar A.
Your recommendation.
My recommendation is calendar A.
So do I have a motion that we approve calendar A?
I make the motion for calendar A.
Makes a motion and Ms. Sheila makes a second. Do we have any discussion about calendar? I know there's a lot of hard work that goes into that, and we appreciate Mr. Norton and all of the people that are willing to be on that committee.
Thank you, Donald.
Pass on to me.
Okay,
And Miss Sheila was the board rep on that committee. She sure was.
I'd like to call for a vote. It's time for
And
calendar
also,
A.
A was the choice of Mr. Saylor.
So I have a
Thank you.
5-0 vote. Motion carries for calendar A for the school year, and we'll be posting that.
Probably as early as tomorrow. Right, webmaster? Yes, we'll post it tomorrow.
And our school nutrition and activity report, Mr. Saylor.
This, of course, is a report that's required by law. We've normally put this under consent in the past, but they really asked for a specific vote. This is the report that Belinda gives you all each year. It's just got some of the nutrition information. Also talks about, our daily activities in terms of student activities. So it's a report that has to go to KDE. That's a required report. And my recommendation is you all go ahead and approve that.
Any discussion? All in favor? Ms. Sheila? 5-0, motion carries. And now that brings us down to our consent items, Mr. Saylor.
Yes, you've got, of course, the minutes from the last two board meetings, the treasurer report and bills. We are wanting to rejoin the Southeast South Central Educational Co-op, and I've given you that information with a lot of the things that we're doing within our strategic plan, our new 3-year strategic plan. We felt like that working with the co-op, Southeast South Central has some things that they offer that is in addition to what we get from KEDC. It's less than $6,000 for the next year and a half. Maybe it was less than 7,000, a little bit over 6. Well, we felt that was money well spent. We also last time approved a couple of jobs. If you remember, we done some revisions to our salary schedule. So those job descriptions in there for safety operation director and human resource and secondary curriculum supervisor are there. We try to update those job descriptions every time we do that. And then item E, we did receive an SFCC offer of assistance. It was only $4,800. And the reason $4,800 for construction, the reason why it's so small is because you've knocked everything off your facility plan. There's not a lot of things there. That $4,000 or $4,800, if we accept that, it would bond less than $75,000, which we could use $75,000. But here's the caveat. They look at your July 1 capital outlay fund balance and they freeze it and you can't use it. We've already committed that capital fund balance. We committed $1 million of the $1.1 million to West Irvin and Estill Springs.
So in order for us to take this money, we have to back that money out. And we can't back that money out. That money's already committed on BG1s, and we're going to get far more bang for our buck by using our $1 million the way we want to, instead of them telling us we have to use it this way. Because quite honestly, you could not do the West Urban parking lot project if you accept this money. And then they would really step in, and there would be some problems on how we could use this money moving forward. It just was not worth the hassle, to be honest. I'll guarantee you, well, the community should be mad at us. We promised them a parking lot. And if we were talking about more money, we'd back out and we'd figure a way. But this here would involve trying to get your facility plan to move West Urban up, which they're not going to move West Urban up to a priority project. It's a parking lot. It's a discretionary project. So there's no way we can make this work and keep the West Urban parking lot project. So we need to just reject it. And we'll reflect that in the board minutes, and I'll send that in tomorrow. But those are the consent items, and I ask you all to approve those. One motion.
We've already discussed that. Do we have any discussion about things? I'd like to call for a vote then at this time. All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Ms. Sheila, then I vote, so it's 5-0. Next on our agenda is a superintendent report, Mr. Salaries.
About 1 minute, notification of personnel actions. You have it there in front of you. The school update for enrollment and attendance. I think Ms. Sheila asked for this, and we just now made it part of our monthly meeting. You have that document. Just so you all know, the ADA is actually up since from the second 9 weeks as compared to the first 9 weeks. And I think we see that because as everybody got back in school and they saw the COVID mitigation strategies, and kids want to be in school. They're going to come to school. As I said, I appreciate our kids. They're not out here fussing and fighting. They just want to be together. They want to be in school, and they want to be able to be there. That proves it right there. I think the only school that we saw just a small dip was Estill Springs. Our enrollment numbers have not changed a lot since first year. As you all know, we had a bunch of students that went on homeschool at the first year over the mask mandates and different things like that. But since then, our enrollment has stayed pretty steady. Item C was the funding that Jeremy had talked about in terms of he applied for funding for wireless internet on our school buses, and that was approved. And he is already starting to work with Laura. And come next August, our hope is that every school bus will have the capability of supporting the internet while students are on the bus.
Please understand that is at zero cost. We did have some people complain that it's a waste of money, why are you doing this? And for the few naysayers, I did speak with them to let them know this is at no cost to us. We either applied and got it and got to use it, or B, we didn't apply and we got zilch. So it's kind of a crazy notion not to apply, not to get it installed, and then our students that ride buses, they go 2 hours away for a trip, they can get on the Chromebook. Again, all this provided, for saver activity. We, during snow days, for those people that do not have internet at their home, we can work out a plan to have a bus station closer to them. If we can safely get the bus to a location that they can get to, and then they can just park around the bus to get internet activity. There's several different opportunities we have. So,
How many years is this, Jeremy?
it pays for the equipment, and the equipment was around $83,000. And then it's also paid for 1 year worth of the unlimited data connectivity on every bus, which was around $12,000 on 30. It was 30 buses, $100 per bus, so about $3,000. Pays for the first.
And listen, if after 2 or 3 years, the funding runs out, we've had it for 2 or 3 years. It didn't cost us anything. Just like today, our food service, we were able to apply for $30,000. If you apply for it, you get $30,000 to buy food. If you don't apply for it, you don't get anything.
So, I mean, why not get it if it's free? So that's what we did. The KSBA conference, I know you all are working with Miss Rebecca, and we have scheduled the ACT open house for March 17th. My thoughts is that if y'all want to call the board meeting, if you want to call it at 5 o'clock to visit the ATC, and then we'll convene the full board meeting at 6 o'clock. It's a special called meeting, however you want to do it, be thinking about it. And we can just go to the ATC on their own whenever you want to and just convene the board meeting at 6 o'clock. The tour of the ATC doesn't have to be part of it. It's just whatever y'all want to do. If we don't include the tour of the ATC as part of the meeting, we just can't walk around as a group. Y'all can go through however you want to. So be thinking about it. I personally think it wouldn't be a bad idea to convene the board meeting at 5 o'clock, go up, participate in the ATC, participate as groups. You don't have to worry about that having a violation of open records, and then come back around 6 o'clock and convene the meeting agenda would be my suggestion to you. But that's it.
We have time for board comments. Does anybody have anything? All right, do we have any public comments, Jeremy, or did you include that?
I did, this is not me.
Okay.
I'm with the seller who never tried to do this. I haven't planned, I haven't put any calendar issues for mine, but we will have that effort.
Let's do this just in case there is anybody from the public that has anything. Jeremy, if you would post something maybe in the morning, that if anybody has any questions from the board meeting, again, anytime public comments, it has to pertain to the agenda. But if anybody has a question, I'll be glad to answer it. I've got no reason not to be truthful. I'll give you the best answer I know to give you. We'll get something out there to give the public an opportunity. We had a lot of public comment during the calendar and those types of things. The only other thing I would say about NTI days, everybody's wondering, well, why didn't we have an NTI day tomorrow? We got to remember, we had some families that did not have electricity on Tuesday and Wednesday. I think most of it was restored today. So I didn't want to burden down our students that did not have electricity. I didn't want them to have 3 or 4 assignments that they needed to do. So tomorrow is just a regular traditional snow day. And if students did not get all their work complete, they can use it as a makeup day. And hopefully we'll be back in Monday. And that's our goal anyways, to get back in school just as soon as we can. I hope everybody will be safe. It's going to be a really cold night tonight and a cold morning. So everybody stay in, stay warm, take care of each other.
Good job. And Brian make a first and a second. All in favor?
Thank you all. Thanks everybody that attended online. Thank you, Miss Sheila. Mallory, I don't know if you're still on here, but we appreciate you as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Everybody stay safe and warm.